Hi, I'm John Maxwell. When the top companies in the world are looking for trainers, speakers, and coaches, there's one name that stands above the rest, and that's Maxwell Leadership. Our certified team members have gotten proven results for companies all over the globe, and our reputation, I'm proud to say, is second to none. Some of our members have risen to the top of their profession, including the one you're going to meet today. I proudly introduce you to my friend Bob Fabian Zinka.
Welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ, where we help you lead with purpose and succeed with impact. If you're ready to grow into the kind of leader others want to follow, this podcast is for you. If you're determined to elevate your success and leave a lasting legacy, this podcast is for you. As my mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell reminds us, everything rises and falls on leadership. Our goal is simple: to inspire you, challenge you, and equip you with insights that can transform the trajectory of your leadership journey. Welcome aboard to another episode of the Leadership and Success Podcast with Coach BZ. Welcome to the Leadership and
All right, welcome to another special episode of the Leadership and Success Podcast. Today we are going to be studying Proverbs chapter 25. Again, this is not a religious podcast. We're just going to be looking at the ancient wisdom and leadership lesson from the book of Proverbs and how they still apply today. Actually, we went through the entire chapter. It took about an hour on January 25th, 2026. You can go back to the podcast and watch the entire episode. Today, I'm going to use the assistance of artificial intelligence to kind of give us a summary of what we learned on January 25th. It's going to take about, I think, maybe 25 minutes or so. Now, let me see. Before we get started, as is our custom here, we like to start with what we call moment of gratitude. So we love to just take a moment every single time we meet and think about something we are grateful for. So you know the drill. Close your eyes, put yourself in your happy place, take a deep breath, and think about one thing you are grateful for today. I know it's the week for Juneteenth, and I am so very, very grateful for the extraordinary resilience of African American, what they've gone through, my goodness. And we are still here, and we are still serving, and we are still loving, and we are still contributing. So I just want to give a shout out to all African American in this country. We haven't always been treated right, but we've always done our very, very best and added so much value and contribution and wealth to America. We love America. It's our country. We're not going anywhere. And I am so grateful for the resilience of African American. And so I am grateful for that. And also, I believe President Obama's presidential library is going to open officially on June 10th in Chicago. So that's going to be a great time. So let us know in the comments, where are you guys joining us from? What city, what state? And if outside of the US, since we are now a global podcast, which country? And what are you grateful for today? And as you listen to the summary all done by AI of Proverbs chapter 25, go ahead and let me know in the comment 3 to 5 takeaway from today's lesson. So let's start with this one. It's about 3 minutes long.
In cybersecurity and military operations, the pressure to react instantly to automated threats and network failures creates a bias towards immediate, decisive action. However, effective command in these environments requires the opposite. Leaders must apply specific disciplines: strategic restraint, timing, and influence. These principles, drawn from the leadership observations in Proverbs 25, provide a framework for maintaining control when the operational tempo exceeds the speed of human reaction. Anyone can project authority during routine operations. A leader's character and emotional discipline are only truly tested when systems fail and the team begins to panic. Processing high-pressure criticism requires a 3-step filter: evaluate the situation objectively, separate emotion from truth, and extract usable intelligence from the feedback. Unmanaged emotional reactions are severe operational liabilities. Exercising restraint creates a strategic advantage that stabilizes the team and allows for clearer decision-making. Even a word fitly spoken, as the ancient proverb describes it, fails if the timing is wrong. Leaders must categorize operational demands to shift from simply reacting to intentionally responding. The 2x2 prioritization matrix is the primary tool for determining when to act. This framework forces a distribution of focus. Urgent and important tasks are handled immediately. Important but non-urgent tasks are scheduled. Anything urgent but unimportant is delegated, and irrelevant tasks are eliminated. Mastering this timing ensures issues are addressed privately and effectively, which prevents broken standards from becoming the new operational norm. Real leadership relies on influence, not just positional authority. Titles alone only secure temporary compliance. Leaders must move up the 5 levels of leadership, graduating from a reliance on rank to building deep trust and developing the capabilities of their team. If an operation collapses the moment the leader steps back, it is a failure of micromanagement. Scalable leadership requires distributed influence that continues to function without direct supervision. In an era where AI accelerates the pace of conflict, technical proficiency is not enough. High emotional intelligence is the baseline for managing modern organizational complexity. Audit your upcoming week. Find one instance where you would normally react immediately and replace it with strategic silence. Restraint provides.
Welcome to This Explainer. Let's dive into Bob Fabian-Zinga's powerful take on Proverbs 25 leadership lessons. Today's noisy world constantly demands fast, decisive action and immediate responses from us. But here's the thing, true influence isn't about being the loudest. It's actually about disciplined restraint. Whether you're in cyber response or the US Navy, intense pressure truly reveals your leadership. Let's hit shift 1, mastering yourself through emotional control and, honestly, the strategic use of silence. Uncontrolled emotion is a massive liability. A disciplined, measured response, that's a total force multiplier. Great leaders earn respect by seeking truth over recognition. You gotta let your consistent results speak. So take a pause. Are you just reacting to the chaos or deliberately responding with purpose? Next up, mastering the moment. This means carefully navigating timing and wisely managing conflict. Timing is a literal weapon. Sorting urgent from important tasks directly multiplies your team's effectiveness. When conflicts pop up, handle them wisely, address issues early, and always correct privately. Remember this, whatever broken standard you tolerate quickly becomes the new baseline for your entire team. Check your motives during disagreements. Are you truly seeking resolution or just looking for personal vindication? Our final shift is mastering the team. True influence will absolutely always outperform brute force. Great leaders evolve. They move way beyond just giving orders to building true, willing trust. Integrity is built quietly behind the scenes, but trust me, it's lost loudly when crises hit. Think about it. Would your team actually follow you if they didn't legally have to? Ultimately, all that technical brilliance is completely useless without a solid foundation of emotional intelligence. In high-stakes environments, mastering self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, and discernment is absolutely essential for success. Proverbs 25 reminds us of this timeless truth. Real leadership power is found in the pause. In a reactive world, choose restraint. What's one leadership behavior you'll change today after this explainer?
Welcome back to the podcast, where we dig into leadership that really stands the test of time. Today, we're diving into ancient wisdom, kind of melded with modern leadership insights, drawn straight from Proverbs 25.
Absolutely. It's like these lessons, they're not just theoretical, they're practical for today's high-speed, high-pressure environment, right?
Yeah, exactly. The chapter lays out a blueprint for leadership that transcends the noise of our fast-paced world. Think about it. In an era where everyone is shouting to be heard, the true leader is the one who
indeed.
knows when to be silent.
So, one of the big ideas is about influence being built on restraint and emotional intelligence rather than sheer authority. Isn't that right?
Right on point. It's basically saying that leadership isn't about power or just fancy titles. It's about measured actions and, well, wise decisions. It's like building a reputation slowly, kind of like how a tree grows steady and strong over time rather than like a flashy fireworks display.
And that ties in beautifully with the idea of letting your work speak instead of constantly self promoting. The principle, it is better that others elevate you than to promote yourself, is so countercultural yet so true.
Exactly, because authenticity and credibility trump loudness any day. Think about it. Always talking up your achievements can
Yeah,
erode
absolutely.
trust over time. Instead, leaders who ask thoughtful questions and focus on consistent results earn real respect.
That's like the classic military or cybersecurity scenario. You aren't just telling people how great you are. Your actions during a crisis speak, and people follow you because of that clarity.
Right. And speaking of crisis, there's that point about self control being strategic power. When the pressure's on, you can't fake character. I mean, it's like if things go south, your emotional restraint becomes your signature move as a leader.
Yep, no doubt there. That makes me think of the whole concept around managing conflict. Instead of immediately escalating issues, the wise leader resolves them quietly and under the radar. It's kind of counterintuitive in today's world, isn't it?
Oh, totally. While many feel that louder, more aggressive responses show strength, Proverbs 25 teaches us that sometimes the most tactical move is restraint. You know, a leader who manages conflict with a cool head is actually setting a higher standard.
I agree, but I wonder if in every situation restraint is the best strategy. I mean, aren't there times when a bold, immediate response is needed?
That's a fair point. There are scenarios where immediate action is necessary, like in cybersecurity incidents or military operations where hesitation could cost dearly. But even then, it's about informed restraint, knowing which battles to fight immediately and which to let simmer a bit for a better resolution.
Makes sense. And moving on to timing, it's said that a word fitly spoken can make all the difference. It's like timing isn't just about speed, it's about knowing when to act or speak.
Exactly. It's like a superpower for leaders. Timing is almost an art form. You see, they break it down into a sort of prioritization model, handling things that are important and urgent right away, scheduling the important but less urgent matters, delegating the less important quick tasks, and frankly, eliminating distractions.
Right. That kind of discipline, it's something that really multiplies a leader's effectiveness. Yet, in our hyperactive cultures, it's so easy to get caught up in reacting immediately.
Yeah, it's a challenge. It requires self awareness to ask, am I reacting or am I truly responding? And that's a leadership skill that not everyone masters.
Speaking of self awareness, what about the idea that integrity shows when no one's around? That's a real kicker, right?
Absolutely. And it's like the currency of trust. When you overpromise and then underperform, people notice. But when you consistently follow through, even in inconvenient moments, you build a silent reputation that holds immense weight.
Indeed. It's fascinating how that ties into, say, cybersecurity leadership, where, in a breach, the team isn't asking if you're smart. It's all about whether they can trust you. Isn't that right?
Right on. In crisis moments, trust is the only currency that really counts. And it goes back to the whole premise of emotional intelligence driving your leadership. Whether you're managing a startup in Silicon Valley or a military unit, if you don't have emotional discipline, you risk spiraling into reactive decisions.
Yeah, no doubt. That brings us to the idea of influence over force. I love how this approach talks about evolving past relying solely on authority, since true influence comes from trust and people developing others. How do you see that playing out?
It's transformative, really. Too many leaders stay stuck at that basic level, relying on their position or title. But the highest level is when you've built genuine influence, a mix of consistency, development of others, and leading by example. I mean, it's like you create an environment where your team grows, and they follow you willingly, rather than out of obligation.
Yep, exactly. It's interesting because it challenges the conventional wisdom. Like people often assume that authority equals leadership, but really it's more about how you empower others, right?
Exactly. It's a subtle shift from wielding power to nurturing leadership in others, and integrity and the ability to resolve conflict without escalating them. Those are the pillars that support authentic influence.
Absolutely. And then there's that underrated skill of knowing when to speak and when to be silent. That really struck me. Sometimes holding back can be a sign of great leadership.
Totally. It's like a litmus test of whether you're controlling everything or empowering the team. If everything falls apart the moment you step out of a room, well, you might be doing it wrong. Silence, when used wisely, creates a space for others to step up.
Yeah, I get that. I also noticed that coaching reflections peppered throughout these lessons. They really encourage self questioning, like, am I adding value or just seeking validation? That introspection is critical for growth as a leader.
Right, it's almost like a gentle nudge to constantly recalibrate your leadership approach. By evaluating our own behavior in moments of stress or success, we foster continuous improvement. And that continuous feedback loop is what transforms good leaders into great ones.
Yep, absolutely. Now, I have to say, I'm a bit curious about one angle. Sometimes in high pressure environments like cybersecurity, isn't there a risk that too much restraint might slow down the needed response a bit? What do you think?
That's a valid critique. In scenarios where rapid action is critical, yeah, delay can be dangerous. But the key isn't in avoiding speed. It's in pairing quick decision making with the right judgment. Restraint doesn't mean inaction. It means measured action. It's like being on the ball without being reckless.
Makes sense. Right, so it's all about balance, not too hot, not too cold. And that's where emotional intelligence really comes to play.
Precisely. And this blend of ancient wisdom with modern leadership strategies, whether you're leading a Navy team or a Silicon Valley startup, speaks volumes. It's a reminder that sometimes the timeless principles are the ones that truly hold up under pressure.
Absolutely. It's almost poetic how restraint, timing, and influence, when done right, make leadership not just effective, but sustainable and even scalable.
Yeah, it's like a symphony where every note matters. If your leadership is built on a shaky foundation of constant self promotion or knee jerk reactions, the music just falls apart. But when you mix in patience, thoughtful silence, and true empowerment, that's when you achieve leadership that resonates.
Right, right. I love that analogy. And it also reaffirms that leadership is about legacy. If your team can operate independently of you, then you know you've built something real.
Exactly. Legacy and transferability are the hallmarks of true modern leadership. When your influence can outlast your presence, you've truly mastered the art of leadership.
Absolutely. So, to wrap it up, these lessons from Proverbs 25 remind us that in a world of noise and haste, leadership defined by discipline, emotional intelligence, and thoughtful restraint is, well, the golden standard.
Well put. Whether you're addressing a cybersecurity crisis or navigating everyday leadership challenges, these ancient insights push us to question our impulses, refine our timing, and ultimately lead with heart and wisdom.
Yep, could not agree more. And as a final thought, let's all ask ourselves, which leadership habit will we refine today? It might just be the step that transforms our influence tomorrow.
That's the spirit. Let's keep growing, learning, and leading with quiet strength. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. Let me know in the comment what are your 3 to 5 lessons for today, and also where you are coming from. And if you have any question for me, type it in the comment as well. So before we go, that's really all I had planned for today. Just a quick reminder, I have written my latest article from the Lead Devotion, leadership lesson from African American veterans from the Civil War to World War II. I appreciate your feedback on that after you read it. And also this morning, I was on a webinar with EC Council. We talked about managing AI risk, governance, and security strategies from a CISO's desk. And the replay should now be available. And This week, I'm also going to be speaking in Tulsa, Oklahoma, at the 8th Annual Juneteenth Legacy, Honoring History, Empowering Today, and Building Legacy. It's going to be the 17th, the 18th, and Juneteenth 2026. Oklahoma State University in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I will be appearing virtually for my keynote, but you can get access and a pass at juneteenthlegacy.com. I will be speaking about embracing the impossible. So I think I'm going to speak on the 18th and the 19th. Let's see. Okay, so to celebrate Black History Month, and again, happy Juneteenth week, everyone. I am going to play a couple of videos. So today is June the 15th, right? 2026. So we're going to go back in time, June the 15th, 1864. That's when Congress finally equalized pay for Black Union soldiers. Prior to that, Black soldiers were being paid a lot less than white for some reason. So Congress passed legislation granting equal pay, arms equipment, and compensation to African American soldiers serving in the Union Army. The law made equal military pay retroactive to January 1st, 1864, marking a significant victory in the fight for equality and recognition of Black military service. I really do not understand that. I am Black in the Navy. I don't know why our country was so against Black people throughout our entire history. It just doesn't make any sense. Because if a white person dies for their country and a Black person dies for the country, we both lost our life. Isn't our life worth the same? I mean, we are fighting for our country. But anyway, on this day, we celebrate that Blacks finally got paid the same exact amount as well. So I'm going to play a quick video about that here.
In 1863, black men were finally allowed to fight for the Union. The country that had enslaved them now needed them to save it. The least it could do, apparently, was pay them less. When black soldiers began enlisting in early 1863, the pay structure was clear. White soldiers, at least $13 a month. Black soldiers, $10. That gap alone was insult enough. But Congress went further. Black troops, and only black troops, were charged a $3 monthly clothing fee. Then white soldiers were not. Effectively, a black soldier's pay came to $7 a month, less than half of what their white counterparts received for the same war, the same service, the same risk of death. The response from black regiments was not submission. It was refusal. Entire regiments refused to accept their wages, choosing to go unpaid, rather than accept a rate that declared them worth less than the men they fought beside. Some soldiers went months without pay. Families at home went without support. The financial hardship was real and severe, and yet they kept fighting. At Port Hudson, at Fort Wagner, at the Crater, men who were being paid next to nothing, or choosing to be paid nothing, continued serving with distinction, continued dying in uniform, continued proving, battle by battle, the argument their country refused to make for them. The pressure built. Abolitionist congressmen pushed the issue. The battlefield record of black soldiers was undeniable and increasingly well documented. In June 1864, Congress passed legislation equalizing the pay of black and white soldiers. Equal pay was made retroactive, back to the date of each soldier's enlistment. The men who had refused their wages finally received what they had always been owed. Black soldiers did not receive equal pay because the government decided it was right. They received it because they refused to accept that it wasn't, in congressional testimony, in organized refusal, and in the relentless, costly fact of their service. They earned equal pay twice, once in the field, once in the argument.
All right, so we are grateful for that. A black soldier or a black sailor should get paid as much as a white soldier or a white sailor. That just makes too much sense, doesn't it? Okay, and next, I also want to celebrate, again, the article I wrote about the leadership lesson from African American veterans from the Civil War all the way up to World War II. After President Truman, signed the executive order desegregating the federal government and the U.S. military. Now, black soldiers could fight alongside their white counterpart. However, there still was not any civil rights equality in the country. Blacks were still treated as second citizens. It's really President Johnson who really changed everything. That's when I believe America really truly became a democracy, right? In 1965 with the Civil Rights Act and also with the Voting Rights Act. Now black people could vote just as much as their white counterparts. So we've really never lived into a democracy in this country, but what for the past 60 years or so, right? And African American have really forced America to live up to its ideal. We created this country, and the founding document says all men are created equal. But for some reason, back then, America felt like, no, black people, you are not equal. No, no, no. You are an object. You are our servant. That's not right. It says all men. That includes African American too. And it took a very, very long time, but eventually we got there. So I am grateful for my country, grateful for America, and I want us to keep moving forward to such a place where our country is really uh, what we were aspired to be, right? A country of freedom, a country of democracy, a country of opportunity for all citizens, including blacks, including women, including everyone, regardless of your race, your gender, or your sexual orientation or ethnicity or national origin. You are American and you are one of us. And that's the America I truly believe in. So, because of that, I am going to play a portion of the address of President Lyndon B. Johnson to Congress when he was trying to convince the Congress to go ahead and pass the civil right legislation so that blacks would have the same civil rights as any other American. I think that's really powerful in our history. It really, really changed everything.
All Americans must have the privileges of citizenship, regardless of race. And they are going to have those privileges of citizenship, regardless of race. But I would like to caution you and remind you that to exercise these privileges takes much more than just legal right. It requires a trained mind and a healthy body. It requires a decent home and the chance to find a job and the opportunity to escape from the clutches of poverty. Of course, people cannot contribute to the nation if they are never taught to read or write. If their bodies are stunted from hunger, if their sickness goes untended, if their life is spent in hopeless poverty, just drawing a welfare check. So we want to open the gates to opportunity. But we're also going to give all our people, black and white, the help that they need to walk through those gates. My first job after college was as a teacher in Cotulla, Texas, in a small Mexican-American school. Few of them could speak English, and I couldn't speak much Spanish. My students were poor, and they often came to class without breakfast, hungry. And they knew, even in their youth, the pain of prejudice. They never seemed to know why people disliked them. But they knew it was so, because I saw it in their eyes. I often walked home late in the afternoon after the classes were finished, wishing there was more that I could do. But all I knew was to teach them the little that I knew, hoping that it might help them against the hardships that lay ahead. And somehow you never forget what poverty and hatred can do when you see its scars on the hopeful face of a young child. I never thought then in 1928 that I would be standing here in 1965. It never even occurred to me in my fondest dreams that I might have the chance to help the sons and daughters of those students and to help people like them all over this country. But now I do have that chance. And I'll let you in on a secret. I mean to use it.
All right, so that was a very, very key moment. Again, for the first time in our history, where all citizens of the United States have the same civil rights and voting rights. Made us really full citizen, not second-class citizen. And I am so, so grateful for that. And that's part of the reason why, in my own individual capacity, since I became a U.S. citizen, I have voted in every election, not just every 4 years for the president, but every local election, whether it's for the mayor, whether it's for the governor, whether it's for the city council. I vote for each and every election because a lot of people died for me to have a privilege to vote. So now we're going to end with an overview of the life of he really was a living legend. He's passed away now, but Colin Powell, the general, my mentor, very extraordinary man. And he's written 2 best-selling books, both of them #1 New York Times bestseller. The first one was My American Journey, which I've read over and over again. And then also his second one, and that's how I was able to meet him. It worked for me during a book signing, #1 national bestseller. It worked for me in life and leadership. I am so glad he wrote those books because when I mentored by him, I can go back and read them even though he's no longer with us. I've also written an article about leadership lesson from General Colin L. Powell. You can find it in the lead devotion newsletter. And I also mentioned him in Mentored by Flag Officers. I've really been blessed. I've been able to interview dozens and dozens of flag officer 1, 2, 3, 4 star generals and admirals from all branches of the service. And in that article, I think about the leadership lessons flag officers have taught me. So we are going to end with this. I'm going to play a clip about 3 minutes long of the life and legacy of the one and only General Colin L. Powell.
Powell died of complications from COVID-19.
The son of Jamaican immigrants, born in Harlem and raised in the Bronx, he dedicated his entire life to public service. Powell broke barriers over 4 decades, shaping American policy. He was the first black national security advisor under President Reagan. He was the first black chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, serving both Presidents George H.W. Bush and Clinton. And he was the first black Secretary of State under President George W. Bush.
Tributes to General Powell can be seen across the country. Flags lowered to half-staff from the Pentagon to the White House to the U.S. State Department. CBS 2's Dick Brennan here now with more on Powell's life and the legacy that he leaves behind. Dick?
Christina, Maurice, what a life it was. He spent 35 years in the Army, was a decorated combat veteran, and would rise to a presidential cabinet position. But Colin Powell was a humble man with roots here in New York City. In a life of service, in war and in peace, reaching the heights in the halls of power, or reaching out to the next generation in school, Colin Powell was old school.
All of us owe something to our country for what our country has given to us, and we can never repay it in full measure. We can only try.
And maybe it was because of where he came from, a modest upbringing in the South Bronx, raised by Jamaican immigrants.
But often, I have people stop me, and they say things like, wow, did you dream when you were growing up that you could become chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff or Secretary of State?
Speaking at his alma mater, City College, in 2015, Powell thought that question was funny.
And I smile and I say very gently, yeah, there I was. I believe I was about 10 years old, and I was standing in the corner of 163rd and Kelly Street in the South Bronx, and I said to myself, Self, you're going to grow up and become chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the Armed Forces of the United States. Not the way it happened.
Tributes to Powell poured in from around the world, from prime ministers to presidents.
One of our great military leaders and a man of overwhelming decency.
Colin Powell dedicated his extraordinary life to public service because he never stopped believing in America.
And I lost a tremendous personal friend and mentor.
Colin Luther Powell was born on April 5, 1937. After City College, he joined the Army and served in Vietnam. Later, National Security Advisor, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and Secretary of State. Just 3 months ago, Powell told journalist Bob Woodward that despite his career, he was indeed a reluctant warrior.
I don't like wars. I don't want to be a warrior. But remember the other thing that is well known about me, and that is we go to a war and I will do everything I can to beat the crap out of somebody and win it.
It was the lead up to the war in Iraq that Powell said would leave a painful blot on his record. At the UN, he argued for an invasion, but it was based on faulty evidence. Later, he advocated for reforms in the intelligence community.
I'm so proud that I have had this chance to serve my nation.
One of Powell's last public appearances was in late September at City College. Speaking with his daughter Linda, he grew emotional.
I said, okay, each of you tell me where you're from, where your parents are from, and what's your future. Each one of them, 12, I think, each one of them did that. And
they reminded you of yourself.
The reason I'm crying is I looked at them, and they were me.
Mm-hmm.
And they came from an immigrant background like me. And they came from some borough in the Bronx, and they were smiling. They were happy.
In an interview, Powell described himself as a problem solver. As for his life, Powell said all he wanted to do is judge himself as a successful soldier who served his best. Indeed, he did.
Thank you for tuning in to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ. If today's episode added value to your leadership journey, be sure to subscribe, share, and join us again for more wisdom nuggets on how to lead better and achieve greater success. Remember, leadership is the most critical skill of our time. The world will always need leaders to inspire others, drive innovation, and execute meaningful strategy. So why not count yourself among the bold leaders shaping the 21st century? Until next time, stay inspired, stay committed, and keep leading with excellence.